Quite some time ago, I set out to discover the answers to some of the most perplexing theories. At times, I have solved theories, debunked theories, and left theories with nothing more than speculation. And today, I will be continuing this by investigating why Pokemon live so long. So sign in and get ready to join the conversation below as we look into if and why Pokemon live for so long. So we know Pokemon die, but we don't really have an exact timeline on when, especially in the games. And while there are small bits and pieces here and there on Pokemon dying, the best place to start with being Ghost Pokemon and the Lavender Tower, we still don't have an exact timeline. With a quick look, we have evidence that Pokemon die, and not just certain Pokemon, but fairly random Pokemon, like a woman grieving over her dead Rattata in the Pokemon Tower. And looking at Alakazam's Pokedex data, we can also see that it too dies. So, we have multiple references of confirmed deaths within Pokemon. And then, of course, we also have Ghost-type Pokemon. So then we have to ask the question, why do Pokemon live so long? Or rather, how does a Pokemon actually die? So I want to point out that even though there is a reference to Pokemon organs, it's far and few between, and we don't have clear knowledge of Pokemon biology. We don't know if they have livers or kidneys, so that will make identifying how Pokemon live so long a bit harder. However, I have a fairly good idea on why. Pokemon are energy and thrive on energy, also known as HP or hit points. This energy is necessary for a Pokemon to actually do anything besides basic actions, like flying or swimming, surfing. This energy is also converted into attack powers, known as PP. Now you might be saying, but Proto, we already know all of this basic information. And you might be right, but I need to explain everything to ensure that no one misunderstands. So when this energy, HP and PP, runs out, then the Pokemon can no longer do anything, but it does not die. So then, if HP and PP does not contribute to death, then what does? Well, we know Pokemon do not need to eat to regain energy. We know Pokemon don't need to drink either. And we know that Pokemon don't need to sleep. This is all according to the games, of course. And even in the anime, there's plenty of times where Pokemon just stay in their Pokeballs instead of eating or drinking. Pokemon are so mysterious. But my theory is the transference of a different energy. So, when a Pokemon dies, it turns into a ghost Pokemon, and then... But what happens when a human dies? Well, according to Yamask, it was a human. And since humans rarely, if ever, die in the Pokemon world, it can be assumed that humans are reincarnated as Yamasks. Taking previous theories, Yamasks eventually evolve back into humans, and the cycle continues again. This would indicate that the reason Pokemon live so long is the same reason that humans live so long, because both species are evolved so far to the point that they don't need food, water, or anything else to survive, and even age doesn't restrict life. Both humans and Pokemon are the same. At some point, humans evolved from Pokemon and reincarnate back into Pokemon and then evolve to humans again. And thus, why Pokemon live so long. Or at least in the games. As far as the anime is concerned, there are so many plot holes and paradoxes, it's hard to establish any kind of canon there. But the manga is more serious, and you can find multiple references of Pokemon dying from attacks. A quick example would be Giovanni freezing a Magmar with his Cloyster and then shattered it into pieces. So in that canon, Pokemon can die from attacks. So there you have it. The reason Pokemon live so long is that they transfer energy by reincarnation. A continuous cycle. Thanks for watching, and if you're still signed in, please leave me a like and comment down below. As for me, I'm signing out, and as always, good gaming and God bless. Please note that in all my videos, if I use images from Google, that I do not own any of those images, and all images obtained from Google are owned by their respective owners and copyrights. So please remember this when watching my Pokemon theories. Thanks.